Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. It's not that Sigma males lack emotion, it's that they refuse to auction it. Society loves boxes, the lover, the leader, the rebel, the villain. But Sigma males break the pattern. They move with unsettling calm, speak with unnerving precision, and vanish with surgical timing. It's no wonder people whisper words like psychopath behind their back. In a world addicted to oversharing and emotional outbursts, the Sigma's quiet self-control feels unnatural, almost threatening. Psychology even has a term for it, affective flattening, the same trait linked to sociopathy. Except in the Sigma's case, it's not pathology, it's strategy. He's not void of feeling. He's mastered emotional minimalism. He doesn't need to perform empathy to prove he has it. He doesn't explode to show passion. He doesn't plead to appear kind. To the hyper-emotional masses, that calm looks cold, that focus looks ruthless, and that silence feels predatory. And the irony. While everyone's busy diagnosing him, he's already read them like a behavioral textbook, closed the cover, and quietly walked away before they even finished their assumptions. So let's pull back the curtain and expose why Sigma males seem like psychopaths, but aren't. Though, to be fair, they do enjoy watching the world wonder. Number one, they don't perform remorse. They process it privately. Sigma males handle guilt and mistakes in a way that most people can't even recognize. They don't announce apologies or put on a show of regret for the sake of social approval. While society has built this expectation that remorse must be visible, public, performative, and often dramatic, the Sigma operates differently. When he errs, he doesn't rush to signal repentance. He doesn't tag someone in a social post to prove he cares. He doesn't wait for validation that he's a good human. Instead, he absorbs the error internally, dissects it, and decides what it truly means in the context of his life. This internal processing can seem unnerving or even heartless to those who equate visible guilt with morality. The Sigma knows that performing remorse is often more about controlling the other person than actually taking accountability. People who demand public apology are often seeking reassurance or emotional satisfaction. The Sigma sees that for what it is and doesn't play the game. He doesn't want to appease the noise of society. He wants to correct his own path. In his mind, an internal promise to improve holds far more weight than a dramatic public display that fades the moment eyes stop watching. Because he doesn't wear his repentance like a badge, he is frequently misunderstood. People label him cold, unfeeling, or even psychopathic. They assume that if he doesn't cry, beg, or over-explain, he must not care. But that's a misconception. The Sigma cares deeply, but he values authenticity and control over performance. His remorse is private, quiet, and deliberate. It is processed methodically and converted into actionable insight. This allows him to grow without being entangled in social expectations or the emotional dependencies of others. This is why he often appears untouchable and eerily calm after conflict or betrayal. While everyone else is performing, reacting, or drowning in guilt, he is evolving silently, accumulating clarity and strength that only the unobserved can yield. The Sigma's private remorse isn't a lack of feeling. It's an advanced form of self-accountability that leaves no room for superficiality, only truth. Number two, they understand social empathy can be weaponized. Sigma males see the world differently when it comes to emotions. While most people treat empathy like a virtue to be shared freely, Sigmas recognize it as a tool, one that can be stolen, twisted, or weaponized. They've witnessed countless situations where kindness is manipulated, where someone's sensitivity becomes a way for others to control them. A compliment can become a chain, concern can turn into leverage, and emotional openness can be used as a ticket to guilt or obedience. The Sigma refuses to hand over that power. His empathy isn't absent. It's fiercely guarded. He chooses when, where, and with whom to deploy it. And this selective approach often makes him appear cold, detached, or even calculating. To the outside observer, it may seem like he's indifferent, but in reality, he's highly aware of the stakes. He understands that sharing emotion indiscriminately can lead to being drained, deceived, or manipulated. While society celebrates those who wear their heart on their sleeve, the Sigma treats emotional exposure like a currency, valuable, scarce, and not to be squandered on people who will misuse it. This isn't just strategy, it's survival. He has learned that showing the wrong person how deeply he feels can open doors to exploitation. The restraint he exercises is less about cruelty and more about self-preservation and control over his energy. Because of this, Sigma males are often misunderstood. People see their refusal to constantly validate others' feelings as a lack of compassion, or worse, as a psychopathic trait. But it's the opposite. He feels more than most. He just doesn't allow that feeling to be leveraged against him. He moves through social and emotional landscapes like a chess player, anticipating the moves of others and safeguarding himself from manipulation. That measured, unflinching approach makes him enigmatic and, to some, intimidating. In the end, the Sigma male's guarded empathy is a statement. He will care, he will feel, but he will never be a tool for someone else's gain. That power, reserved and deliberate, is what makes him both formidable and profoundly misunderstood. Number 3, they intimidate without trying. Sigma males have a presence that doesn't rely on loud words, flashy gestures, or attempts to dominate a room. They move through the world with a quiet confidence that doesn't demand attention, yet somehow commands it. There's no effort in their composure, no calculated act of intimidation. It simply exists. People notice it instinctively, even when the Sigma says nothing at all. This unspoken authority makes others feel exposed, as if their insecurities are suddenly visible under a spotlight they never asked for. The Sigma doesn't make anyone feel small on purpose. He simply refuses to shrink to accommodate them. What makes this intimidating is how effortless it is. While most are busy performing confidence, trying to prove themselves through postures, words, or constant validation, the Sigma doesn't need to. His certainty is internal, self-contained, and unshakable. He doesn't seek approval, validation, or affirmation from others, which throws people off because they are used to gauging respect through social hierarchies and outward signals. With him, none of that matters. That calm, self-assured aura cuts through pretension and forces people to confront themselves, often leaving them uneasy or uncertain. Another layer of this intimidation comes from his unpredictability. The Sigma doesn't adhere to social scripts or emotional expectations. His reactions are measured, his boundaries clear, and his focus sharp. People are wired to feel threatened by what they cannot predict or control, and the Sigma's self-possession creates exactly that sense of unease. He doesn't pressure, provoke, or coerce. His mere existence unsettles those who thrive on control or drama. Ultimately, the Sigma male's intimidation isn't about fear, it's about truth. He projects authenticity, clarity, and self-sufficiency in a world where most perform masks of competence or confidence. Others may feel small in his presence, but it isn't because he diminishes them. It's because he refuses to inflate their sense of entitlement or disguise his own power. His influence comes naturally, silently, and irreversibly, leaving an impression that lingers long after he's gone. Number 4, they are too self-contained to be controlled. Sigma males exist on a plane that most people simply cannot reach. They are fiercely self-contained, carrying their purpose, emotions, and decisions within themselves. They don't rely on social approval, external validation, or the expectations of others to define their value. This self-sufficiency makes them nearly impossible to influence or manipulate, which is why society often mislabels them as cold or psychopathic. When you encounter someone who refuses to be shaped, controlled, or swayed by conventional pressures, it's unsettling. Humans are wired to expect compliance, to measure themselves against norms, and to use influence to create order. The Sigma male breaks that pattern effortlessly, operating according to his own internal compass. Because he is self-contained, he does not need to justify his actions or explain his choices. He doesn't ask for permission, seek consensus, or perform for approval. He moves through life with autonomy as his default state, and that independence often triggers discomfort in those who depend on hierarchy and social leverage. To the outside world, his autonomy can seem extreme, almost unnatural, because it challenges the very assumption that people must be guided, controlled, or coerced to maintain social cohesion. The Sigma simply does not play by those rules, and that refusal appears threatening to anyone who relies on conformity to feel secure. This self-containment extends to his emotions, relationships, and ambitions. He invests where he chooses, cares when it matters, and steps away without hesitation. No one can hold his attention hostage, guilt him into action, or exploit his energy for personal gain. This makes him appear untouchable, unbothered, and occasionally intimidating, because he is a living example of independence taken to its extreme. In essence, the Sigma male's power lies in the fact that he cannot be controlled. His inner world is complete, self-governing, and impervious to the usual levers of influence that bind ordinary people. Society may call it coldness, detachment, or even psychopathy, but in reality it is a rare form of freedom, a man whose life is entirely his own, immune to manipulation and unshakably sovereign. Number 5, they analyze emotions instead of drowning in them. Sigma males approach emotions like a complex system rather than a tidal wave. While most people are swept away by feelings, reacting instinctively or impulsively, Sigmas step back and observe. They don't just feel, they decode. Anger, joy, fear, or jealousy aren't just experiences. They are data points, signals, patterns to be understood. This detachment isn't coldness, it's mastery. By analyzing emotions instead of getting lost in them, they gain insight into themselves and others, often seeing motives and consequences that elude the emotionally reactive. This analytical approach unnerves people because it defies expectations. Society assumes that empathy requires immersion, that understanding emotions demands vulnerability or panic. The Sigma flips this on its head. He can read the intensity of someone else's feelings, recognize the underlying triggers, and maintain absolute composure. To those who equate emotional engagement with visible reactions, this calm feels unnatural, even threatening. It looks as though he doesn't care, when in reality he understands more than anyone else in the room. The Sigma's ability to dissect emotional chaos also gives him an unparalleled advantage in interactions. He doesn't get swept into drama or manipulation because he sees it coming before it unfolds. He observes patterns, anticipates responses, and chooses his own path without being hijacked by someone else's mood. This gives him freedom, control, and clarity in social situations where others are blindfolded by their own feelings. At its core, this is why Sigma males often appear so enigmatic. They feel deeply, but they never let emotions dictate their actions. Instead, they translate feelings into understanding, insight, and strategy. To outsiders, this calculated calm can seem robotic, detached, or even psychopathic. But in truth, it is a rare combination of emotional intelligence and self-mastery that allows them to navigate the world with precision, authority, and a quiet, almost unsettling control. Number 6, Their empathy is selective, not public property. Sigma males possess a type of empathy that most people misunderstand because it doesn't follow the usual scripts. They can read emotions, intentions, and vulnerabilities with surgical precision, almost like a profiler studying behavior. But unlike the stereotypical empathetic person, they don't feel compelled to rescue, fix, or console everyone they encounter. Their care isn't automatic or performative. It's deliberate and guarded. This makes them appear detached or even manipulative to those who believe empathy must always manifest as action or assistance. They understand that not every expression of pain or need requires intervention. Offering help indiscriminately can lead to dependence, manipulation, or exploitation. The Sigma knows this, so he chooses carefully when and where to invest his emotional energy. To outsiders, it can feel like coldness or calculated cruelty, but it's actually a form of emotional intelligence few possess. By keeping empathy selective, he maintains control over his energy, focus, and boundaries, all without losing the ability to connect deeply when it truly matters. This selective approach also makes them appear enigmatic. People expect visible emotional responses or acts of kindness in exchange for their suffering. And when a Sigma doesn't deliver, it triggers discomfort or suspicion. The truth is, he doesn't owe anyone that exchange. His empathy is not a currency to be spent at the demand of others. It's a conscious choice, reserved for moments, people, or causes that genuinely warrant it. In practice, this gives the Sigma male immense power in social and emotional situations. He can understand motives, anticipate reactions, and navigate relationships with unmatched clarity. The apparent detachment makes him hard to manipulate, impossible to predict, and intensely intriguing. His selective empathy sets him apart from the crowd, not because he lacks feeling, but because he refuses to hand over his understanding to anyone who hasn't earned it. Number 7, they don't play the social morality game. Sigma males move through the world guided by their own internal compass, not by the invisible rules society imposes. While most people bend, perform, or compromise to gain approval, Sigmas answer only to themselves. They make decisions based on principle, strategy, and personal integrity rather than the fear of judgment or the desire to fit in. This independence is both rare and unsettling because it refuses to acknowledge the social scripts everyone else takes for granted. When a Sigma breaks an unspoken rule, ignores a societal expectation, refuses to participate in performative kindness, or chooses a path that defies convention, the crowd reacts with discomfort. They call it cold, selfish, or even psychopathic. In reality, it isn't about lacking morality. It's about rejecting a morality that is conditional and performative. The Sigma sees clearly how fragile social norms are. Rules exist only because most people need them to feel secure. By refusing to play along, he exposes the illusion that society's ethics are absolute. This approach often makes the Sigma male appear mysterious, intimidating, or untouchable. People project their own fears and insecurities onto him because his actions don't conform to expectation. They interpret his refusal to perform approval-seeking behaviors as detachment or cruelty, when it's actually a refusal to compromise his values for the sake of consensus. The Sigma's internal ethics also allow him to act decisively and consistently, without being swayed by gossip, peer pressure, or fleeting trends. He doesn't make choices to impress, placate, or manipulate others. He acts because it aligns with his own principles and goals. That kind of clarity and self-governance is uncomfortable for those who rely on conformity to validate their behavior. Ultimately, the Sigma male's disregard for social morality games isn't rebellion for show. It's a quiet, unstoppable assertion of autonomy. He doesn't follow the rules because he sees them as optional. and in doing so he challenges everyone else to confront the weaknesses in their own adherents. This is why he seems cold or even psychopathic, not because he lacks morality, but because he refuses to let society define it for him. Number 8, they speak in precision, not pleasantries. Sigma males don't waste words, and they certainly don't indulge in small talk for the sake of politeness. While most people use conversation to fill silence, maintain appearances, or curry favor, the Sigma cuts straight to the point. He communicates with precision, choosing words that carry meaning, intention, and weight. There's no fluff, no padding, and no empty social gestures. To the untrained ear, this can feel abrupt, cold, or even predatory, but in truth, it's a reflection of clarity and focus rather than hostility. Small talk functions as social anesthesia. It numbs real connection, masks discomfort, and keeps people locked in superficiality. The Sigma rejects this. He understands that words are powerful, and wasting them on trivialities dilutes their impact. When he speaks, it's with purpose. He exposes truth, uncovers motives, or illuminates patterns that others would rather ignore. His verbal sharpness can be unsettling because it forces people to confront realities they're comfortable avoiding. They aren't used to someone speaking without the softening layers of social expectation, so his honesty can feel like a threat. This precision also demonstrates his autonomy. He doesn't speak to please, impress, or entertain. Every interaction is measured, intentional, and self-contained. That makes him intimidating to those who rely on charm, flattery, or manipulation to navigate social landscapes. A Sigma doesn't need to charm. His words are enough. A single sentence can reveal insight, cut through deception, or expose superficiality, leaving listeners unnerved by the sheer clarity of his perception. The effect of this communication style is magnetic, yet unnerving. People are drawn to the Sigma's intelligence and directness, but they're also wary of it. He doesn't apologize for speaking with intention, and he doesn't soften truth to protect fragile egos. In a world addicted to meaningless chatter, the Sigma male's precision is a weapon, a tool, and a statement. He doesn't speak to fit in, he speaks to be understood, and that distinction makes him unforgettable, unnervingly powerful, and often misjudged as cold or psychopathic. Number 9, they process betrayal like data, not heartbreak. Sigma males don't experience betrayal the way most people do. When someone deceives or disappoints them, they don't spiral into emotional chaos, clutching at anger or heartbreak. Instead, they observe, analyze, and categorize the event like data points in a system. Every betrayal has a pattern, a motive, a lesson. They strip it down to its essence and extract insight, rather than allowing it to fester into resentment or self-pity. This methodical approach makes them appear calm, unnervingly calm, even when the world around them would expect outrage, tears, or drama. This detachment isn't indifference or lack of feeling. On the contrary, it's an advanced form of self-preservation. By refusing to allow betrayal to hijack their emotions, Sigmas maintain control over their energy and focus. They understand that pain is only destructive if it dictates their actions or mindset. When others collapse under deception, the Sigma analyzes why it happened, who is capable of such behavior, and how to prevent it from recurring. Each incident becomes a lesson in human nature, a way to sharpen perception, refine judgment, and strengthen boundaries. To those watching, this calm can look heartless. People are conditioned to equate visible pain with authenticity. If someone doesn't lash out or collapse, they must not care. But for the Sigma, the absence of outward reaction is deliberate. It's not a performance, it's efficiency. Emotions are acknowledged internally, processed deliberately, and converted into strategic understanding rather than wasted energy. This capacity allows Sigma males to move forward quickly and decisively. They don't cling to grudges unnecessarily, but neither are they naive. Each betrayal leaves an imprint in their understanding of people and the world, subtly reshaping their approach to relationships and trust. Their resilience is formidable because it is built on clarity and control rather than denial or suppression. In the end, the Sigma male's response to betrayal is a testament to his self-mastery. He feels deeply, learns relentlessly, and refuses to let pain rewrite his purpose. Number 10, they remain unshaken in chaos. Sigma males have a rare ability to remain calm when the world is falling apart around them. When everything seems to be burning, emotionally, socially, or professionally, they don't panic, they don't shout, and they certainly don't react impulsively. Instead, they analyze the fire. Every problem, every conflict, every unexpected turn is observed, dissected, and understood. Their mind treats chaos as information, not as a threat to be feared. This is not a lack of feeling, it's an extraordinary level of competence. They are fully aware of danger or disruption, yet their response is measured, deliberate, and precise. To the emotionally frantic, this calm is disorienting. People expect reaction, noise, and visible distress. When the Sigma doesn't comply with these expectations, his composure is often misinterpreted as indifference or even cruelty. They mistake mastery for coldness because they can't comprehend a mind that thrives in clarity rather than chaos. While others get swallowed by the storm, Sigmas navigate it like skilled architects, understanding the patterns, anticipating consequences, and choosing action with unwavering focus. This unshakable presence makes them magnetic yet intimidating. People gravitate toward the Sigma in crisis because he radiates competence and stability, but at the same time, they may feel threatened or insecure because his calm exposes their own emotional volatility. The Sigma doesn't comfort by indulging panic. He solves, adapts, and moves forward. That refusal to mirror hysteria is what makes him seem inhuman to some, even though it's the very trait that allows him to survive, dominate, and lead in situations where others would falter. Ultimately, the Sigma male's calm in chaos is a testament to his mastery over himself and his environment. It's not coldness, and it's certainly not cruelty. It is clarity, intelligence, and control embodied, a force of quiet authority that reassures some, terrifies others, and leaves a lasting impression on everyone who witnesses it. Number 11, they understand the power of emotional distance. Sigma males recognize that emotional closeness can be a double-edged sword. To most, intimacy is a measure of trust, loyalty, or connection, but to the Sigma, it can also be a leash. When emotions are freely shared without boundaries, they become tools others can exploit, a way to manipulate, control, or drain energy. Sigma males understand this instinctively. They maintain distance not because they are incapable of care, but because they value their freedom and autonomy above all else. This emotional separation is strategic. By keeping others at arm's length, the Sigma maintains clarity, focus, and independence. He decides when and where to invest emotionally, ensuring that his energy is not hijacked by neediness, drama, or social expectation. To outsiders, this can appear cold or apathetic. People mistake detachment for lack of feeling, failing to see the deliberate intention behind it. In reality, every boundary is a choice, a safeguard, and a declaration of self-sovereignty. Emotional distance also allows Sigma males to observe and understand relationships with unparalleled clarity. By not entangling themselves too deeply, too quickly, they can detect patterns, motives, and hidden agendas that others miss. This gives them a unique advantage in both personal and professional spheres. They can connect deeply, but only on terms that serve mutual respect and understanding, not on the terms of others' demands or emotional manipulation. Ultimately, their calculated distance is not a flaw, it's a signature trait of their independence. The Sigma male's restraint protects him from being consumed by the chaos of other people's emotions while giving him the space to act, decide, and thrive without compromise. What seems like apathy is actually mastery over himself and over the influence others try to impose. Emotional distance, for the Sigma, is freedom, a sovereign boundary that allows him to engage on his terms, live without compromise, and remain untouchable in a world addicted to dependency. Number 12. They don't chase social warmth. They create internal order. Sigma males operate on a fundamentally different emotional axis than most people. While society teaches that belonging, approval, and constant connection are essential for fulfillment, Sigmas reject that dependency. They don't seek validation or warmth from the crowd because they've built a sense of life and purpose within themselves. Their energy isn't dictated by social tides or fleeting popularity. It comes from an internal order that few can comprehend. This self-sufficiency can make them seem robotic or detached, but it's actually a sign of emotional mastery. They aren't devoid of feeling. They simply don't rely on external affirmation to define their existence. This internal order allows them to navigate life with unparalleled clarity and focus. While others scramble to please, compete, or belong, the Sigma invests in his own mental and emotional architecture. He prioritizes understanding himself, honing his skills, and structuring his life around principles that matter to him. This independence gives him freedom. Freedom from drama, freedom from manipulation, and freedom from the emotional turbulence that consumes most people. Isolation, for the Sigma, is not loneliness. It's a tool for self-regulation and growth. It allows him to recharge, reflect, and operate without distraction. He creates meaning and stability from within rather than chasing external comfort or approval. This makes him unpredictable, intimidating, and fascinating to those who rely on social dependence for their sense of identity. In a world that glorifies connection at any cost, the Sigma male's choice to cultivate internal order sets him apart. He is not constrained by societal expectations or emotional dependency, and that autonomy makes him powerful, grounded, and untouchable. What others mistake for coldness is, in fact, a deliberate cultivation of inner harmony, a life lived on his own terms, anchored by self-sufficiency and immune to the chaos of external validation. Conclusion. Understanding Sigma males is like stepping into a world that operates on entirely different rules. What society often labels as coldness, detachment, or even psychopathy is rarely what it seems. Every trait, their selective empathy, their calm in chaos, their refusal to chase validation, their insistence on truth over comfort, is rooted in self-mastery, independence, and emotional intelligence that most people simply cannot comprehend. They are not heartless. They are strategic. They are not uncaring. They are self-contained. They don't need the applause of the crowd to define their worth, because they have already built a universe inside themselves, governed by clarity, precision, and sovereignty. To witness a Sigma male is to see the embodiment of autonomy in action. Their actions are deliberate, their presence commanding without effort, and their silence more revealing than any words could ever be. They reveal the fragility of social expectations, the illusions of dependency, and the superficiality of performative morality. And in doing so, they challenge everyone around them to confront their own emotional limitations, their need for approval, and their inability to operate beyond the script society has written for them. What makes Sigma males truly extraordinary is not a lack of emotion or conscience. It's their mastery over it. They feel deeply, think critically, and act deliberately, all while refusing to hand over control to anyone else. They navigate a world built for conformity with a quiet, almost unsettling freedom. That is the source of the mystery, the allure, and the intimidation that surrounds them. If you've been captivated by the Sigma male mind, if this exploration has opened your eyes to a world of precision, autonomy, and subtle power, make sure to take the next step. Subscribe to the channel for more insights into the psychology of extraordinary individuals. Like this video if it resonated. Comment your thoughts and experiences with Sigma males, and share it with anyone who's ready to understand the truth beyond appearances. Knowledge is power, and understanding the Sigma mind is the first step toward mastering your own.